We're continuing today a summary on Sefer Yehoshua, part 5, and we are holding at the beginning of Perek Tes. Perek Tes is talking about the story of the Givonim. After Yehoshua has a tremendous victory at all this Milchemes HaMelochim, the Anshe Givoin are coming. Who are the Givonim? The Givonim are the sons of Chivi, who is one of the Tzedzoim of Canaan. The Torah says, Canaan Yolis Sidon, Vesches, Vesyevuzi, Vesemoyer, Vesagirgoshi, Vesachivi, Vesarki, Vesasini. There were the Maaseh Chelik from Zayin Amomin, that Klal Yisrael was nitztave to be kovish when they're coming into Eretz Yisrael. They were sitting and situated, parked in Givoin, which is next to the Gilgal, and these Givonim who are from the Moitza, from the source, origin of Chivi, coming to Orme with a certain chitridigkeit to Yeshua, and they lie. They're coming to say that they're coming from Eretz Chacheka, and they're coming to be Mizgayer, in to be part of Klal Yisrael. Truth of the matter is, if we look at the Givonim in the Torah, and they came to Moshe Rabbeinu, right at the beginning of Parshas Nitzovim, Batem Nitzovim, Tapchem Neshechem Ger Hashem B'Sherecho Michoitev Eitzecha Ve'ad Shoyev Meimecha. Rashi says, Melamed Shebo Knanim Lizgayer B'Mei Moshe Kederech Shebo Givonim B'Mei Yehoshua. Rashi brings down the pasuk that it says here in Yeshua Perek Tes, Vayasu Gam Hem Be'ormo. In other words, not only the Givonim, which Rashi called them Knainim in Sefer Dvorim, they're coming into the Mizgar in the time of Moshe, and Moshe Rabbeinu, they came in Be'orme, and the son of Moshe, Choyt Ve'etziv V'She'av Imayim. The Gemara says in Yevamis that these are the same Givonim that came to Moshe, came into Yeshua. Anyhow, the Givonim, we find them, just for the record, we find them also in Sefer Shmuel Beis. It says there was a Horav in the time of David, 3 consecutive years, and it says, Vayivakesh David Pnei Hashem, Vayomer Hashem al Shaul, Vels Beis Hadomim Asher Heimis Esa Givonim. There was a hunger. David HaMelech comes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and asks him what's the reason for the hunger. It says because Shaul murdered the Givonim. We don't find that Shaul really killed the Givonim. The Givonim met Parnasa. The Parnasa was that were Meshars the Kohanim. And since Shaul HaMelech killed Noi Ve'ira HaKohanim, the famous story, and therefore once there was no Kohanim in Noiv, the Givonim lost their Parnasa because they were Mesapik Maim Mozain to V'kivon shemitoich shehogas ha-kohanim shehoyu mesapkin laim mozen helo ha-kosuv keilu emisom. Okay, David asks the Givonim what do they want to do. He wants to have kapara because he has a Horav, so he goes to make a shalom with them. And they say that he should give in 7 people from the sons of Shaul HaMelech. David gives him the 7 people. The Givonim kill them as a nekama, as a revenge for what? Because of this Maaseh Achzori, the Rambam's famous Rambam's Loshen, also le'odom liyos achzori v'leispayes elahu yenoyach lirtzes v'kosher lichois u'b'shor shemevakesh menu achoyte limchoel moiche b'lev shol menefesh chafetza v'afilu heitzer loi v'choto loi harbe lo yikoim v'lo yitor v'zeu darkom shel zera Yisrael v'libo manochen aval ha'akum Arele levim einokim elo evroson shomru lo netzach v'chenu oimer ala givonim shelo mochalu v'lenispaisu v'givonim loimi beis Yisrael eimon. The Rambam says that the reason why there's a Isur Lov Bekol for the Givonim is because they were Achzorim, they were in Michoel, therefore he had to kill them. Anyhow, they're coming in, they're making a bris. The Givonim, there's a Shaila with Bradam, Machlikas around the Ramban. If by Shiva Umas, by other Umas, they have to Mekayim, Mekabel, Kriya L'Sholem, they have to Mekabel, Mas, Avdus, Kabbalah, so mitzvahs. We're not going to go into all the details, but the Givonim did not want to do Shalom. They're only coming in, the first time we see them appear is after Milchemes Yericho, Rashi and Taisus learn that the reason why they had to come be'orma is because they did not come in the beginning of Yeshua ben Nun's journey to Eretz Yisrael, the beginning of Milchamas, but they come in only afterwards. And the halacha is that if they come afterwards, afilu chozu b'tshuva ein mekabel moisim. Therefore, they had to do a trick, and they have to come in and be'orma. The din, that's Shitas Rashi and Shitas Eisis. The Shitas Rambam, Shitas Rabban, and that the din Kriya L'Sholem is ne'emar in Olefanim, even Bazayin Amomim, irrespective when they come, if they mekabel all mitzvahs and avdus and mas mekabel moisam. And the question is, if that's the reason, they could have come in, and they say we are Zayin Amomim, we'll mekabel all the Tnoim without any shticks, and Yeshua had to mekabel oisam. Not only that, the Rambam says that Yerushalmi Shteit and Teis brings in Gittin, Yeshua sent 3 mishloches to when he came to Bekevshetz. So Kol Bisha Mekabel, Yovav Mekabel. So, and according to the Rambam and the Ramban, there is no statute of limitation. In other words, they can come in at any given time. So why do they have to come be'orma? Why do they have to come be'mirma? The kasha is nish the kasha the Rambam as the kasha. The Rambam says Shleish Aksom Shalach Yeshua Shel Nichlas LaOretz Harisha and Misha Roitz Livrach Yivrach V'Chazar V'Shalach Misha Roitz Lashnu Yashnu V'Chazar Shalach Misha Roitz Lasas Milchama Yase. Im Kain, fragt der Rambam, mipnei ma ha'erimu yoishvei givoin, why do they have to be marim? Lefi shesholach lohem bichlal v'lo yikiblu, v'lo yodu mishpat Yisrael, v'dimu sheshuvem peisrim lohem l'sholem. They didn't know, they thought at the beginning they didn't know it's not limited, there's no statute of limitation, therefore they saw they lost a chance, so they came be'orme just because they made a mistake, and now the halacha is the Rambam, and they thought that this offer has an expiration date, and therefore if they come right now, Yeshua is going to kill them. The Radak, we brought down the reason why they have to come in be'orme. They said that they thought that Yeshua, you see, he sent to the eye, he sent to Yericho. And you see that the reason why he's sending, you see that he's not Mekayim. Apparently, he does not sending us. It's not a private mission only to us, to all the Yoshvei Oretz. So why did the Yericho and the eye were Mekabel? Teretz is, it's a trick. He's not going to Mekayim Dav Tochase. Therefore, they made, says the Radak, they made it Be'orma, and they did not trust his guarantee and his shlichus. They thought the same thing that happened to Yericho and happened to the eye is going to happen to them. Therefore, anyhow, they come in 3 days. After 3 days, they find out that they tricked them, but Bnei Yisrael, v'lohikum Bnei Yisrael, because nishbedu lohem, and they came in, they found out that it's a Ramos, they came to the Nesim, and they said that we should go back and kill them, and the Nesim are telling them, no, we cannot go back on our words, and therefore, it's so the question is, if somebody came in with a trick, that's a Rishonim Madan, we spoke about it a long time, and it's a krisas bris betos, if this pact that they signed with the Givonim has a validity according to halacha, because Lamai says they came in, there was a tos, and betos nishbeu lohem, and the Rambam himself says that bedinu sheyahargum, and the reason why they didn't kill him is only chil Hashem. You don't call this to come and say they're signing contracts, they're signing pacts that they're not mekayim. That is what the Rambam says. The whole Easter of Krisas Bris we spoke about. Zayin Amomim, you're allowed to be koy if you're not allowed. We spoke of the Rambam, the Ramban, the Stiyas, the Rambam, Sefer Mitzvahs, the Rambam, Ilchos Avodah Zorah, and anyhow, Yeshua is koyres the Bris. And Yeshua came, and we see the Psukim, he says, Miatem u'me'ayin tavoyu, because he was really choyshed. There was Zion Umas, the same Eretz L'choyko, they were not Miyoshvei Oretz, we come from far land, and they made a whole trick, they were dressed up with tzuris and the kleder, and Nodo Yishvurim, to show that everything that they are foreigners, they're not part of Eretz Yisrael. Taisus in Yevomis Taka brings a raya that the Isur of Leitichos Bris Le'yeshiv Oretz is only with Zion Amomim. And Taisus also brings a raya from Chiram. We spoke about the story of Shlomo HaMelech and Chiram, that Hashem nosan chochmah l'shlomo v'yichus u'shneim bris, and how was the koyres bris, and we spoke in length about the Easter of krisas bris, when it's muter, when it's not muter, and we sorted out that Lemaise, if they do it under certain circumstances, you're allowed to be clear as bris. And yeah, as part of the bris, what was the bris? The bris was that, like the NATO pact, if one of the nations members in the NATO is being attacked, the other nations are coming to assist. Anyhow, so when Adoniyahu, Adonitzedek, and other Melochim that heard about this pact, so Adonitzedek went to Melech Hebron, Melech Yamus, Melech Lochish, Melech Egloim. He says, let's go and attack the Givonim because they made shalom with Israel. And they get together their whole army, and they're starting from a war, arranging a war against Givonim. Givonim sent immediately a message to Yehoshua ben Nun and tell him, listen, we signed a bris, you have to make the bris, we are right now being attacked by all these Melochim, the Chamisha Melochim are coming with a huge army to basically corner us because we made peace with you, we have a peace agreement, come in. Yehoshua comes in and he takes Amma Milchom and Gibeir Chayil, he starts running after them, and he goes the whole night, and he killed Tezi, Vayokom Mehu Mogdoilo, there was a Makah Gdoilo Bechevron, Vayehomim, Lifnei Yisrael, and they go in Ma'ale Beis Chayrin, and all the way down to Azekah, and they're going down the cliff of Moyod Bnei Chayrin, which is, by the way, today, if you know where Givoin is, you know Beis Chayrin is right outside there in the vicinity of Moedi'in, which is not far from each other, and that Moed, it's a slope of the mountains of Bnei Givoin, are being running, and the Melochim are being chased by Kli Yisrael. It says it was a major nace, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu threw Advonim Gdolos Min HaShamayim, and they were killed. It says Vayamusu, there were so many people of the 5 Melochim that ranged in Milchama against the Givonim. There were more people killed in the nace of the Avnei Haborod, Avonim Gdolim Min HaShamayim, Masher, what Bnei Israel killed in the Milchama Becherev. And Yehoshua all of a sudden gets up there, and this is the Neis HaGodel Yehoshua, which is a lifetime Neis, which Chazal always talk about. Moshe Rabbeinu was Ma'amid Chamo, and Yehoshua was Omes Chamo, Shimui B'chol HaGoyim, from Yehoshua, that he said during the Milchama, when the Avnei HaBorod is coming to Hashemayim and killing all these nations, Yehoshua says, Vayaz Yitzov Yehoshua, he's coming in and he's saying, Az Yedaber Yehoshua Shemesh Begiv'oin Edoim, it says that there was the sun stopped and the moon stopped, and it was bechatzi hashamayim v'lo yotz lovei kiyoyim tomim, and v'lo hoyo kayoyim hazeh. It's the only place it says in Tanakh such a strong language. Lefonov lo hoyo kayoyim hazeh, lefonov ve'acharov as well. Lishmoya Hashem bekoil ish. Yehoshua is Mishaded Ma'aroches Ateva, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu listens to Yehoshua ben Nun and makes this Neis Hashem be given them. The Gemara has 3 different Mandahamim. Was it for 12 hours, 24, 36 hours? What's Kiyim Tomim? But in any event, this story takes place in, by the way, the Shemesh Begiven takes place in Gimel Tammuz, Beis Alof in Tov Peiches, 3 months after the coming to Eretz Yisrael. Till now, let's just wrap it up in a nutshell. There were 3 substantial things that took place in Sefer Yehoshua till now. Number 1, Milchemes Yericho, which included the falling of the Chomes Yericho around it as a miracle, never saw before. Number 2, we had 2 Milchemes of the eye. One, the first Milchama that wasn't Matzliach because of the Cherem of Ochan. We learned the whole sugya. 36 people were killed because the Me'ilah of Ochel Bezavdi. And a second Milchama was a second successful Milchama Sarai after they manish Ochon, and they came with Tachbulos, and they made a Marov, and they came with an ambush, and they Matzliach to kill them. Now, the third story of the Yevonim, the coming Koyers Bris, and they understood that since they are different than all the Amim, they made peace with the Bnei Yisrael, probably that will invite other from Zion Umis to go ahead and start a Milchama, and so it happened. Therefore, they asked Yehoshua to have some kind of a defense pact, and they came, and Yehoshua comes in. Because Baruch Hu is Maftiach, Yehoshua is Menatzech Milchama. Yehoshua comes in, and the Avnei Habor. By the way, the Avnei Habor, we spoke about all about it. that this Gemara says Avnei Elgovish. Gemara in Baruch says that Avnei Elgovish Basman. As if you see the residual of those stones that fell, you make a certain brachos. The more what's El Gavish She Omdu Al Yad Ish. It's Moshe Rabbeinu Vaish Moshe Onav Moav Yod Al Gav Ish. Yeshua is also called the Ish. The same Avonim when Makas Bora they stopped, they froze, they put into the back burner. Into hibernation, they froze wherever they were in the Shamayim, Machlokes Hashanim, four-way Machlokes Hashanim, where exactly the park was situated for all those years, from Makas Borod till 40 years later, right now, the 3rd month coming into Eretz Yisrael, HaKadosh HaKadosh Baruch Hu releases those Avnei Borod which were left over there in Makas Borod, Paro, in Mitzrayim, and throws them on the Chamisha Malachim and come to range of Milchome against the Givonim. And then Yeshua comes in and makes this miracle for Shemesh Begiven Doim Yoreach Be'emek Ha'eloi. Why is Yeshua need to make such a nes? Why does it say? So we saw a couple of shitas. One of the shitas, the Mitzudas brings down that the reason why he was choishesh that there won't be matzliach to be roidef achar ha'ishayin achar ha'oyev be'ishayin alaylo. Therefore, he says, stand right here. And that time the Areach was already in Emek Hayaloin. So he says that, he was Moira, that it's going to get dark and they're not going to be able to see, even though the whole thing is a miracle. Or he was afraid that since the Levana was there with the Chama, so there's going to be some kind of eclipse. The Levana is mastered the Chama. That's one sheet. Pikul Ablaza says that the 36 hours, why? Because the Milchama took place Gimel Tammuz Tov Peiches, as known, was on Friday and Erev Shabbos, and Yeshua was Shiurei Sefer Yehoshua Shabbos. She's taking Pikul Ablaza. That's why Yeshua is asking for Shemen Begiven Doim Al Kopanim. And the question is, why does Yeshua have to do that? L'choyer already. This is in the post-war era. It says already in the Psukim before that once the Avnei Aboros killed themselves, is l'choyer already. We're holding in the post-war era. Why does this? The Ralbag really says, we brought the Ralbag, the Be'emes is that the whole truth or the matter that whatever is described, but it says that people that were such a fast, expedited nitzochen that the Anshe HaMilchama that came with Yeshua ben Nun was nidmet to them the Shemesh and Emna bin Koimui. And he says that till this is an Inyan Niflo, that the Kodesh Baruch Hu showed that the Milchama was done, expedited immediately, and it seems like so many miracles happened during that Milchama that should really last 24, 36 hours. The people who saw thought Shemesh Begiven Doim, but really, in essence, it's just something that happened so fast and nothing really happened. And we spoke about the 9 places throughout history where there was a Yom Elaylo, and we spoke about the Rekeach, the famous Rekeach. We went all the way to the story of Nakdim Ben Gurion. We said a whole shir about it, and we saw the difference between Moshe Rabbeinu and Sh'ar Nevi'im in fundamental different, just as a consensus amongst all the Rishonim, the Rambam, and Sefer Nevuchim, and I'm just going to say it in short. What's the difference between the Moifsim that Yeshua ben Nun made and Moshe Rabbeinu made in Sh'ar Nevi'im? It says Moshe Rabbeinu, whatever was done was a neis and moifes, was takeshidud ma'arochois ateva. You know what I mean? It was nigel. Any person that stood on the side, it saw the oisa, saw the moifes, and it saw that the oisa azman nishtane ateva. All the makas that Moshe Rabbeinu is doing, these makas are shinui ateva. The mahalach, the makas dam, the yid and the goy drink, he drinks water, he drinks dam, and all the moifs that Moshe Rabbeinu makes is shidud ma'arochois ateva, says the Rambam Masha Enkin. All the moifs that we find in the 24 books of Tanakh that Sh'ar Nevi'im made, it was just a happening of a spontaneous, very incidental story that happens, but really is not Meshaded Ma'aroches Ateva. Moshel the Novi comes in, Elisha is Machia the Ben Hashunamis. What he does is, normally we know that somebody died, he died, and he's not getting up to Tchias HaMeisim, that somebody that saw Be'oisa Mok and Be'oisa Zman, this Sh'ar Nevi'im had a koyach to make a miracle, a story, but not a Shidud Ma'aroches Ateva. Anyhow, we spoke a lot about those Nisim, and then we went after to the story of the Tiferes Yisrael, people that live in the North Pole, in the Michoel, which are smuchim to the Koitev Atzfeini, the north of the South Pole. Half a year the sun doesn't go down, and half a year it doesn't go up, and then it's Choshech. And all the shaila, when is it called Yom? When does it change? How do you Keveya Shabbos, Yontif? How do you Mechashav Krish Meshachis Arvis? Could you light Hanukkah candles? Could you light a Tinok? When do you make a Milah? Shemesh is not Zerachas. What do you do about everything about tzitzis, about tefillin, about krishma, about tefillah, all the shaila, and the Tiferes Yisrael and the Mishnayos has a whole story that he says it's like if somebody comes in there, he goes, two people, one come from America, one from Europe, every person has to keep Shabbos according to the place he left. If he left was that time, so he goes according to that. Each one draws himself his own calendar, which is a very, very unique psak in Tiferes Yisrael. And we brought down different machlekes, different achreinim, going back and forth. And the Shiur Sha'inyan, just to wrap it up in a nutshell, the shaila is when the Kodesh Baruch Hu machlif esa'itim mizmanim misader sakrechovim da'achlofas ha'itim in the zmanim. What is that? We have a musik, something called yom, something called lailo. Yom and lailo are independent or dependent upon oyer and choshech. The oyer is the tchilas hayom, the choshech is tchilas halaylo, or it's totally in the cycle of hours, and every 24 hours is mischalef leyom. So therefore, if there is such a thing, irrespective if it's day or night, if it's dark outside or light outside, every 24 hours there is a chetzi yom, a chetzi laila, irrespective of oyer v'choshech. We went through all these things. We went to the famous Rabbeinu V'chaye. We went through the psukim in. We saw the Yavetz, the Morvechtzia, and we spoke about this psukim in the Ralbag, the famous Ralbag in Sefer Yehoshua that speaks about it. Nobody really brings down the Ralbag. This Ralbag in Sefer Yehoshua, it says, Eilen k'tzois drochov mashemetz nimtza bo v'rang v'roisa mi'izboinen, and he over there speaks about it, and this is what we gather together. We spoke about the Hashkafta the Rebbe, the Yerushalmi, that he went to the Levaya, they didn't have enough time, and Kodesh Baruch Hu was Ki'ilu Oitze D'Yoyim, and they came home and they were still have time to Slias Dag and Adlokas Haneris, and they afterward they were sitting in Mitzukah, they thought they were Michoel Shabbos, and Baskel came out, that don't worry about it, anybody will be Shtativ Levaya, Mizum L'Chayo Elam Abo, and there is no Chshasha L'Chayo Elam Abo, or Hakoponim. And it was really, the Adal brings down, he doesn't know if the Maaseh of Shemesh B'Givon Doim that happened, did it happen only to Yeshua and Givon in that particular geographical area where the war took place, or at that time really the whole world stopped and they had a 36 or 48 hour day, and it was Shemesh B'Givon, the B'Givon where it took place, but the Maaseh took place in the whole world. We carried on weiter. We went back to Perek Yud. It says afterwards Yeshua comes and he hangs up the Melochim, and by night he takes all the Melochim that he killed, he took it down and he took them off the trees and he put them to the Meireh. We spoke about the Isur of Halonas Ameis Hal Eitz. The Torah says L'tolin Livlosi Kikov Tikverena B'Yoyim Ahu Kilas Elohim Tolui and V'Loisatamen Asad Moscho. Pashtus, according to the Psukim, is a mitzvah saseh of kovetik verenu. He's supposed to bury, and Amiloi Solin with the Easter Tole ala Eitz Bekol Alaylo. We spoke about this Behar Chover, and we went back and forth and back and forth. The Shitas Yalkut, if he's a Loisa says also Esse, Shal if it says only in Aruge Bezdin, is it a din? Anybody's Mechuyev Misa, somebody that died. The Rambam, there's different steers, the Rambam in Hilchas Hanedrin, the Rambam in Hilchas Ovel, and the Rambam in Sefer HaMitzvahs, and the Ramban in Sefer HaMitzvahs, and we came down to the Maskarne that when the Torah says Lei Solin Kikovetik Verena B'Yom Mahu, the Torah says why Kikilas Elohim Tolui V'Loisatam Yasad Moscho. Rashi says, a famous Rashi, is Ilzul Shel Melech, that a person is also b'dmus Diyukne v'Kadosh Baruch Hu, and Yisrael is bonim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Is Moshel, Rashi brings down the famous Moshel to Shnei Achim, that were the identical twins. One became a minister, one was Nitpas Lalistius, and one was hung, the Nitpas Lalistius was hung on the tree. Anybody that goes up and he says, hey, look at this minister, they hung him up at the end of the day. Rashi Shita is the Isulei Solin is only a mace from Bnei Yisrael because it's Bonav Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But Meis Goy, there is no tziva. The reason why you bury a Meis Akum is only on Dark Shalom. Rashi holds, that's Rashi, the Ramban Dingzachanem. The Ramban says the Isur Baal Tolim is also in Meis Akum, and the Ramban says the reason why is because Ein Roish and the Tameh Se'oretz V'tiyeh Kilo Elohim Ba'oretz HaKadoisho Kishom Tziva Hashem Chaim V'sabroch Chaim Ad Oilom V'lochein Tziva. This is a famous Ramban. Yeshua V'yeridu Ma'amar Eitzim. Ramban brings down for the fact that Yeshua was mitzvah to take down the 5 Melachim for the Eitzim Kovev Ba'adomo. Boy Hashemesh is a raya, even though they're goyim, there's the Isur Baal Tolin because it's in Eretz Yisrael, and the Isur in Eretz Yisrael is not enough kemina if it's goyim or klalis bnei Yisrael or goyim, and by goyim also there is such a thing. So we went weiter and we spoke about we went to the next parak. Spoke about Yovim Melech Chotzer, that they came out with a milchama, and they came into a place called Meimorim to be a nilcham klal Yisrael. The Shbocha tells Yeshua, don't worry about it, go to the milchama. They're all going to get killed, and I give a special siwet tzutzeim te'aker v'esmar koveseim tisrafu b'yish. The whole parak talking about taking what's te'aker. So most of the Rishonim, the 24 melachim are not l'maisa, not nispol from the nitzchenes of Yeshua had and all the nisim. That the difference between till now and now there was the old system of the Milchama was 1 or 2 Melachim got together a year. The 24, which is, we know the 31 Melachim, Shivan, the Shivan Umin, and there's another 24 Melachim, and they are coming into a war. Now, here, for some reason or another, until now, it says, because Baruch Hu tells them, just go ahead and kill them, in this particular word, Kadosh Baruch Hu tells them, you have to me'aker the susim. Most Rishonim learn me'aker susim means you have to cut off the bottom of the leg, minar kuba v'lamato. And the question is, why is this milchama different than all the other milchamas? We spoke about the famous Radak. It says because the other milchamas there was no sus v'rechev. The whole milchama did not use any ammunition, any horses, any carriages of war. There was just a milchama from the Am against the Am. But this milchama, there was milchama with Amrav, and they needed susim and rechev, and therefore Kadosh Baruch Hu was mitzaveh to be me'abed the susim and the rechev, in order the Klal Yisrael should know kisheker asus lichuo b'roiv chela le'imolet, and Yisrael without rechev, without susim, could kill them, and also Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to take those susim, the merkovers. He was afraid that if Klal Yisrael are going to go afterwards and take the bizo, take the sholol, and take those susim and merkovas, in the future they're going to think that they're going to do a milchama with the susim. This is good ammunition. We're going to take this F-15 war, equipment that they're going to want to do. Kadosh Baruch Hu told them no, to be aker b'susim, to be serif the merkovas, and the reason why Kadosh Baruch Hu, and he says, why didn't he tell them just to kill the susim? It's not. He says that Sh'ar be'emes, the susim is only lemilchama. Is Fakir Sh'ar be'emes. He said the gemalim, the chamorim that are not used for war, take him in the shol, and you could keep him for the shol for the milchama. Susim, which basically at that time were only used for ranging a war, he told them to be me'aker them, to be mashchis them, and to chop off the bottom of their arkuva v'lamato in order not to be beiteach besusim, was a symbolic tzivui to be mashish in Klal Yisrael, the milchama is Hashem and sheker sus l'shua. So is the Radak. The question is, how do you do that? The Shaila of Tzar Balchaim. The more is the Shaila if the halacha is Tzar Balchaim the Reis Rabbona. We said two shiurim about this Indian of Tzar Balchaim with all the nafkaminas and priketeina and oyev and soine, and we spoke about different Gabi Shabbos, if they fall into a bore, if you allow to be mater the chavolim, if you allow to be neifel the sakim, and there's a shayla of muktzeh, the shayla melech seiser, the stier sakli, kli aroy latashmish, tinuf, the story with Rabbi Gamliel, and the Gemara comes, the Gemara asks the kasha, the Gemara in the Kama Mekoimes, the story of behema shenofel amas hamayim, so you're allowed to put in korim v'ksosos to be matzel, and you are allowed, you're not allowed, it's Efsheb Parnosa, Yefsheb Parnosa, and the Gemara goes by, and the Gemara says the Shaila is if Tzar Balachayim Daraisa, and the Isurim is the Moshe Mevatel Kli Meichonoi is only the Rabbanon. Tzar Balachayim is Daraisa. So the Isur Tzar Balachayim is Doiche the Din Derabbanon. So this is the Shaila, and if you hold just to wrap it up, we spoke about it long. The 4 Shitas of Rishonim in the Isur from Tzar Balachayim. Rashi learns out from the din from Azav Tazav Imo, you're supposed to be perfect the master from Beim, you shouldn't be mitzvah, is the din daraisa. The Ran learns it out, it says V'roivitz tachas masoi, in other words, roivitz, even the Beim is ravtzonis, without, some Beim are more lazy than other. So there is a din of Tzar Balachayim is also in the daraisa. You see, the Torah says that the Beim is Ravtzonis and the Masa is sitting a bird on top of her, you're supposed to be assist your fellow friend. That's Shitas Ran, Shitas Ravid is from the fact that we find that the Isur Lesachson Shoy Bedishoy, you're not allowed to be Chosim. Shosh Dash Betvur is because the Shoy is mitztayer while he's working, when he sees the Tvur and he can't get to it. If you put a Resen on top of the shore, not letting to eat the tvuo, therefore is a raya, Tzar Balachayim Daraisa, and according to the Ritva, it's not really a halacha with a tam, but it's a halacha l'meisha misinei. And therefore, we have a machlekes l'maisa halacha l'maisa, shitas ha'ga'onim, and the Balamor, and the Rosh, and Sefer HaChinuch, the Tzar Balachayim bleibs Daraisa. The Mordechai says Tzar Balachayim is osur only the Rabbanon. Rambam, we saw steers in the Rambam Milchas Ritzeach, the Rambam Milchas Shabbos, and if the Rambam holds the Raisa, the Rabbanon, and then we saw also philosophically the Rambam speaks about the whole din of Tzar Balachayim, and the Rambam says there's no hefresh between Tzar or Odom Sh'ar Balachayim, because Ahava So'im V'Rachamea of Vlad Eina Nimshach Achar HaSechel Ela Achar HaPoal HaKoyach HaMedame Animtza B'Roiv Balachayim K'moi Ba'odom, and the Rambam speaks about the mitzvah of Shchita, the mitzvah of Oisav Ezbnoi, and the mitzvah of Shiluach HaKan, they're all coming for the midah of Rachmanis in order not to be Mitzayah the Behemoth. And we spoke about the Ramban. The Ramban says the difference between the Rachmanis of the Kodesh Baruch Hu and Yitzurim and the mitzvah of Rachmanis of us, the difference. And anyway, the Gemara in the Zohar says from the fact that Yeshua was Oiker, the Susim, is a raya that by Behemoth shall go, there is no Isur Tzar Balachayim, otherwise Yeshua won't be able to Isur the Surim. The Gemara says as the guy is noiser b'shuk shel avedas kachavim, the behemoth is to oker. The Gemara says kasha hari behemoth is to oker. The Gemara says is ayis Tzar Balachayim. The Gemara says susayim to aker that it's a special halacha by behemoth shel goyim. There's even though Tzar Balachayim by behemoth shel Yehudi, not by Tzar shel goy. And we spoke about the Radak and the Maritzchias and the Muki Yosef and the Nedi B'Yehuda. Shaila about Shchita, about Meritas, Noitzes, by Avozim, by Kachke, if it's also L'Tzerech Odom is mutter, if not L'Tzerech Odom is not mutter. And the Muki says that since it's Tzar Balachayim is mutter, because we Horai a lot of Shechta Behemoth, he has a Tzar, and therefore the Kolshkin, it's mutter for Kovad Abrius, etc., etc. And this was the. And we went from there to the next Perek Yud Aleph, you're talking about the Milchama. It says that the Shiur was Lohesi Dov Mikol Shitziva Hashem, and he was Kovish the Kol Haaretz, the Har, the Negev, the Golil, the Goshen, the Shvelo, the Arova, the Har, etc., etc. And then it says at the end, the punchline in Perek Yud Aleph, it says Yomim Rabim Osa Yeshua Milchama. Yeshua made a Milchama which lasted a very long time. In the beginning, it says that the Yeshua was the Shvach Lohesi Dov Mikol Shitziva Hashem. Apparently, Yeshua is doing anything that Kodesh Baruch Hu is mitzvah him to do. Then at the end of this, it says that Yeshua was Yomim Rabim. Rashi says that Yeshua Yomim Rabim, Bignusoi Siper Hakoso. The Torah, the Novi comes in to say something, Bignusoi Shel Yeshua. Shoyo Miskam and Litchos is Kibush Haaretz, Kedei Laharich Yomim, Fishanema V'ata Tanchilena Oisom. Since Kodesh Baruch Hu said that Yeshua be man and Malchil Eretz Yisrael, so Yeshua is Ki'ilu trying to postpone and to procrastinate and to stretch the duration of the Milchama because he has a bank guarantee that he's going to be Malchil them. If he has another 2 years to the war, he's going to stay alive and not going to die. And therefore, it is Bignusa from Yeshua. And the question is, all the people say Yeshua is not nichshad to be me'akev the tzivui Hashem for a personal te'elos. You know, it says, so how could you say that Yeshua is, apparently Yeshua has a different svara why to delay, and we brought down two pshatim for the Rishonim and for the Malbim as to why Yeshua is really postponing and not doing the Milchama, doesn't expedite and does it slow, maturely. One pshat is Yeshua knew that the kibush that started out with the Hanhoga Nisis, with during miracles, with the time there will be a transformation and they will go from Hanhoga Nisis to Hanhoga Tivis. And it says, the same thing that when the Klal Yisrael goes out of Mitzrayim, they started where they get the food, and then they come to Eretz Yisrael right away. They are transforming the Hanhoga of Neis. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you come into Eretz Yisrael, you started Charisha v'Zriya, and instead of Anon Kovet giving you a coverage, you have to build yourself houses, and therefore Yeshua made such a cheshbon. Look at their Radak, look at their Albag, and look at the Malbim. I'm just wrapping it up all together. Yeshua made a cheshbon. If he will make such a milchama that the milchama would continue being derech nisis, like milchemes Yericho, as soon as they come out, the first duration of milchama, the milchemes Yericho, the whole thing was a nes and blowing shofars, and milchemes Sa'ai, which is also during nes, and milchemes Chamisha Melochim, Shemesh Begim and Doim with the Avnei Aborad. If the whole thing would be a Hanhoga Nisis, they wouldn't be able, Klal Yisrael, to transform and to lead a life Piderech HaTeva. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to do. So Yeshua wanted to stretch it in order to give it enough time for this transformation to take place, and that is the reason why Yeshua is Mashhe, and that's number one. Number two, Yeshua is an interesting thought. Yeshua understood that the kibush is not going to take place until a new generation. That we know that the Mesa Midbar died till last year, not the coming to Yisrael. Yeshua understood that it has to be Frische Olam Yelidei Eretz Yisrael. When the Torah is coming to talk about in Parshas Bechukoisai, the Torah comes along and says that the Yishuv Ha'oretz is Uforiso Veroviso Ba'oretz. In other words, there is at night, as the Ramban says, that you have to have proof who you need a new generation, Israeli born, Fun Eretz Yisrael, and they are going to be the one, are going to be Michoel and Mitzvah Torah. And says the Malbim, since it takes 13 years a Shana for Ibur, and 13 years the guy become a Goel because Cotton Spot Mekol HaMitzvahs, Yeshua was Me'akev, the Kibush Ha'oretz, Zayin Shekipshu, Zayin Shechilchu, in order to have those 14 years, the Shnas HaHeroyin, and the duration of 13 years till they become G'dayel and Mechuyev Mitzvahs, and therefore Yeshua is stretching it out. Afal Pichein, it says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he gets an einish for postponing it, and in the Yeshua was supposed to live, like it says, anything that happened Moshe Rabbeinu happened to Yeshua. Yeshua should have lived 120 years just like Moshe, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu was manishim, was mekatzer, his yom of Eser Shanim, 10 years Yeshua gets to live less, and it says in Perek of Dal, the end of Perek for Yeshua lived only 110 years. And the reason that there were legitimate reasons, since Yeshua Lamaisa had a zaitik, a personal benefit, even though the cheshbon was a cheshbon, Yeshua shouldn't have done the cheshbon. He should have left it to Shamayim, and Shamayim would have straightened out and taken care of either the transformation of the fact that you have to Yelidei Ha'oretz, like the Chizkiah HaMelech, the Novi Yeshaya told him, why aren't you Isaac B'Piri? He said, he saw Beruch HaKodesh, David Lebonid Le'Me'ali, he saw Menashe, and therefore he says, why am I giving birth to such a person? Therefore he wasn't Isaac B'Piri. And then it comes in the Novi Yeshaya and tells him, B'Hadeh Kafshe Derachmon L'Lomeloch, Man de Mifkadet Yiboyloch L'Nevad, Man de Nicha Komed HaKadosh Baruch Hu, live it up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not your business. You have to take care of what's yours. Yeshua gets a tzivah to become Shiurei Sefer Yisrael. No cheshbon should take place. No, even it's legitimate reasons, as we saw. Yet that was his ched, that was his einish, and that's why Yeshua lives 10 years less than Moshe Rabbeinu.